right, welcome back to Off the Tap. This week is episode 58, and we're doing Martin House Brewing Company's Watermelon Pickle Beer.
A
Yeah.
partnership with Best Made, if you're familiar with the Texas brand pickle. Hey, real quick, I just realized now that like I think about it every single time that you've done an intro. I don't know how many episodes I've been on yet. We can all go back and count, but every single time it eats me alive the temptation to, as you're doing the welcome back to Off the Tap, to just immediately interject and like fuck up what you're trying to say, because like it basically takes, normally today was like a very rare occasion, it normally takes like three times for you screwing it up before we get the right take. And so I'm always tempted, like the first time, to just say, well, we're going to screw this one up anyways, so just jump in and like, oh, try to talk over you, like, because obviously we do this over like a Teams type situation, and just be like, oh, sorry, I'm sorry, go ahead. Like, that's what I want to do. And today I would have felt so freaking guilty for doing it because you actually got it right on the first take.
Because we freaking nailed it this time. It's not every time, dude. It's just been like the past month or so. It's been pretty gnarly.
You're probably batting 1,000 over the past 5 episodes.
Man, dude, don't be throwing me under the bus like that, though. Come on.
Think about how terrible I would have felt if I would have interjected as a joke today, and that would have been the only one that you get right in like out of the next 10 episodes.
You know what? Whenever you do it, I'm leaving it in to show people.
Leaving it in. We always talk about things that we're going to cut out, and I feel like we never do. But anyway, leaving it
No,
in.
well, I never do because I'm
Yeah,
too
what I meant.
lazy to do it. I
That's what I
just
meant.
I just cut the beginnings and the ends out and paste that chin there, bro. That's what I do. So
The
yeah,
only editing is the only, oh, wait, hold on, damn it. The only
okay.
editing is the clips. The only editing is the clips for like the Instagram like thumbnails. Other than that, dude, you guys are getting it untempered. It's untapped. It is
Yeah,
off the
it is.
straight out.
It's straight off the tap, if
It
I if
is.
if I could say so myself. Yeah, so I have only had I think two other beers from Martin House. One of it being their sour pickle beer, which I love.
Me
Um,
too.
and it's weird for me to say that because I love pickles, but I was never a big fan of the pickle pops growing up.
What? I mean, I loved the pickle. I mean, first off, I think they're a ripoff. You go, you pay $1, you're like, this is just recycled pickle juice that's frozen. But I loved pickle pops. But I love, there was like a huge, this might have been just when we were like going through school, but like there was this massive trend where we kept getting the pickle salt. Do you remember that?
Yep,
And we
yep.
would pickle salt every beer. It was usually like Keystones or something like that, but we would pickle salt every beer. And I really, really loved that. And so the first time that I had the Best Made Sour, um, it was kind of like that, but way better, obviously, because it's like high quality.
Yeah. It's really good though. It's like a perfect mix between a beer and some pickle juice, quite honestly. So obviously this is a sour, but it's also sour fruited is what it
Is it a
says.
s- is it a sour?
That's what it says. Now, this beer in particular is not listed on their website, only the sour pickle beer is, but on Untapped, this was listed as a sour dash fruited. So,
Um,
that's what I'm going with.
so there's a couple of things I want to call out. First off, I mean, it follows the template. They have a couple of variations of pickle beer.
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
had the sour pickle. I've had the
There's a spicy one as well.
I haven't had the spicy, but I've
There's
had like
a
the
fruit punch.
raspberry. Yeah, fruit punch. I've had the fruit punch, and it's like, I know it sounds really weird. Obviously, this is probably going to be very weird, but it's like mixing Kool-Aid with pickle juice. And I know it sounds gross, but it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it's weird. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's weird that the sour pickle beer in itself tastes good to me, but it does.
Dude, one thing that's hilarious, and I hope it's true. I mean, obviously, I'm going to pour mine into a glass for you guys to see. But it says 12 fluid ounces, seedless, in parentheses, 6.5 alcohol per volume. So
Oh
it's,
yeah,
I think,
that's what I got online as well, 6.5.
I just think it's funny that I don't know if that's like just a funny, like, people, they're hiding it on the can for people to read it and chuckle, or if like that's true.
Well, I would hope that it's a seedless watermelon that they're using. So I
Or at
don't get a
least that,
bunch of little seeds in the freaking.
wait a second. We're gonna get into this a little bit later because I think we're gonna have obviously a lot of topics to talk about watermelons. But I don't believe in a seedless watermelon. I don't for a
I don't believe
second
in
believe
eating
it.
one. No, no, no.
Oh,
But if I
but
was
you
gonna
can.
juice one,
You can strain it out.
So
Oh, good lord.
this is what I so mine have been popped for a little bit, and I've just been wafting in it. Is it wafting or wafting? Right?
Wa wafting is the past tense of wafting?
Right?
Wafted?
What
Wafting.
isn't that what you do in science class? You waft things to you?
It is. It's like, but I was thinking of like the present, the past of wafting, but
Wafting would be
he
present, not past.
he had wafted a
Yeah.
few times. That's
Yeah.
the past participle. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So
We're gonna need
so
somebody to tell
I've
us what.
just been it's just been like normally I have to kind of bend down and get in here and smell the cans. But it's just been lingering in my face for like the past 5 or 10 minutes. And now I'm not getting as close as you, and you don't seem to enjoy it very much, but I enjoy it.
No, I'm
The
not
smell that
against
I'm
it. I'm just trying to think of like, to me, it smells like a cheap car air freshener mixed with pickle juice, but that I don't know. Maybe that's because I said a couple of weeks back I don't
I
necessarily care for artificial watermelon, but oh, dude, it's
I
got
just
a well,
smell
it's a
fruit.
sour. It's a sour, but it's got a very unique color.
Yeah, it's soury though.
Oh
Uh,
my god, dude, I think there is pulp in it.
no.
Yeah, on the foam, I'm getting
Oh my God.
little specks of red. But dude, okay, so real quick, are you gonna be able to get a cut of the can, or are you not gonna be able to find it online?
It's rough.
Okay, so beautiful can. I think the
Hold it like in the middle of the screen, just in case. Like middle.
oh,
There you go. Yeah.
hold on. Should I do this? Should I do this? Just so that you could cut my fingers out.
Yeah. I mean, I have one, but it's not the best. Um,
Um, Very unique color and head dissipated very quickly, but I think that's common of sours, right?
I believe so. Yes. They
Also,
dissipate pretty quick.
bro, I am. Did you already hit it? I'm taken aback at the way that it
No,
approaches the
I'm
mouth.
ready
Here
though. I'm
we go. Let's
going.
go.
Let's do it. It is exactly as advertised.
Yeah, it is very pickly though.
It's very pickly with like a hint of watermelon Jolly Rancher.
Ah, that's what it is. Okay, I kept thinking in my head that it was shitty car air freshener, but you're
No.
right. It's watermelon Jolly Rancher.
Mm-hmm. Now I wanted to say this before I got into the taste that for me personally, this has the potential to be my summer beer
Hmm.
because I love water. Which we'll get into watermelon here in a bit, but I love watermelon, and there's just something about the pickle juice, the pickle beer in general, that makes it's just so refreshing to me, and it gives me the sad or the scary thing is that it gives me a false sense of health, right? Because I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, this is great for my cramps. I'm not gonna cramp up after I drink this beer, but it's slowly dehydrating me as well as hydrating me. So I want to know
yeah.
the ratio as to how much it's dehydrating me versus hydrating me.
It toes a fine line. Well, I mean, this is obviously going to dehydrate you more because of the
Yeah.
alcohol that's in it, but
Hmm.
pickle juice, I think, toes a fine line. Man, I was expect. Ooh, hey, if you want to intensify the watermelon smell taste, if you want to intensify the watermelon taste, get a few burps out.
Oh
Because when
my.
I burp it, the only thing I taste is
Oh,
watermelon, which
yep.
is really weird.
I just forced a little small one out.
Yeah,
Yeah. Whenever they come out
you know,
naturally, it's gonna be rough.
you know how sometimes things giveth and then they taketh away.
Hmm.
This giveth and then it giveth again whenever you burp
Yes.
it out.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. This one can qualify too, but with their regular sour pickle beer, um, man, dude, I had one with a fried chicken sandwich one time. I think it might be the best food beer combo of all time.
Dude, can you imagine a beer batter made with this or the regular
Oh
pickle
my.
that you fried chicken in?
Wow. Yeah.
Because like think about like my favorite fish, and I don't care. Like I mean, obviously I love to like catch like white perch and stuff like that and fry it like
Hmm.
old school Southern style. But outside of that, my favorite fish is like a generic cod, super white and flaky, but Sam Adams beer battered, and I it has to be Sam. People are like, oh, you can't tell. No, 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 no. Has to be Sam Adams beer batter. And I feel like this would make a slamming chicken sandwich.
We need to try
If
this.
Damn, that's worth it. I don't know if I would go with the watermelon.
No, just the regular sour. Maybe
Yeah,
the spicy. I haven't had the spicy one yet, but maybe that one.
I'll give you that. One time, this is way off topic, but one time, by accident, we didn't have any eggs or milk, and we needed something as a binder to fry shrimp before we breaded them, and we used coffee creamer. Not a
Mm,
success. Not a success. So that's why I would say we start with the regular sour beer.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Also,
Uh,
one thing that I love about, and actually, when you said pickle pop, it happened in my mouth because it was before we actually drank the beer. But um, when I drink this, I get the same thing. Like, you know how in the back of your, I don't know what they would call it, but like the back of your throat, like where your jaw kind of connects to your face, there's like when you mustard does it, and
mhm.
so does pickles. And as soon as I get this, like right here, my mouth just immediately starts this intense, like pre-vomit salivation, but with no
Oh
vomit
no,
intensity. Think about it.
not a bad thing, is what you're saying. You're
Mm-mm-mm.
describing it very badly, but it's not.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not. Now, I don't know if I could drink more than like four of these or something, but I do. I never even thought, I didn't put two and two together like that this is a sour because that's what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, I know that's stupid to say that because it's pickle, but like, I just didn't put two and two together. I like it.
yeah. It's a different kind of sour, like because right, like a normal sour doesn't taste like pickles. You
You
know
know
what I
what?
mean? But since
Yeah.
this one tastes like pickles, it's a sour. So
You know what else is going to be extremely difficult? I guess for we need to compare it to sours. That's how we should rate it. Because I was just thinking to myself, what's my standard for pickle beers? Basically, the company that makes this. But yeah,
yeah, yeah. I don't know if there. I mean, I'm sure there is other ones, but I've never seen one. I also didn't realize when you said that Best Made was a Texas pickle. I didn't
yeah.
realize that was just Texas. I thought that was a national thing.
I mean, I'm sure they distribute everywhere, but yeah, Best Maids are made in Texas. I don't think I've had anything other than pickle beers by Martin House. Do they have other
I don't.
regular beers?
I don't know. Oh, does Martin House? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had one somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but yeah, they
Yeah,
do a
dude.
bunch of
Best
other stuff.
Best Maids are like. I guess we don't think about it just because like if you're eating off-brand pickles, you're eating off-brand pickles. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, I think growing up, like we would just eat best made pickles, and we didn't assume that everybody was eating best made pickles. Well, actually, everybody I knew was because we were in Texas. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what we always had. So I was just like, hmm. That's why
yeah.
I was a little surprised because I just always saw them everywhere. So, uh, yeah, where is so Martin House is in Fort Worth. Man,
Is it?
we should have gone.
So I think I've had this on tap, like not at Martin House, but I've had the regular sour pickle on tap. And I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I don't remember it being as good as it was when we experienced. It was like the third time I'd had it, but coming out of the can, which is weird because I don't think there's any other sour I would say that about. But coming like drinking it on draft, I wasn't like blown. And any beer that we've tried on here that I've revisited on tap, or anything that I've had historically on tap and I visit it in a can, I'm like, it's just not the same, or it's way better on tap. I don't think that's the case with at least the sour pickle. I enjoyed it a lot more out of a can than I did on draft, which was very weird.
I wonder if it's because of like the similarity of what happens to pickle juice in the jar. You know what I mean? Like maybe that preservation of it does something.
Possibly, dude. I'm gonna say it's not a bad thing. This one, even though it's watermelon, is more pickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I don't know. I know what you're saying. I don't know if I agree. It's been a
What?
while since I've had the sour pickle one, but
Okay.
I don't know if I agree or not. Only because I'm getting that hint of watermelon, and so it's like it's throwing me off of the sour pickle nature a little bit. I will say that I had a burp a minute ago, and I tasted a watermelon. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's really weird.
I tasted a little bit of pickle, but it was a watermelon Jolly Rancher in my throat.
I agree. It's kind of like, and I think we said this before, but it's kind of like when you do the gallon challenge with milk. You would think like you get near the end and you start throwing up because you can't drink a gallon of milk. You start throwing up and you're like, oh, it's going to be cold. No, it starts with warm vomit and then it gets cold at the end. It's really weird. Kind of
Yeah.
like that, but
It
not.
starts with pickle and then it kind of ends with watermelon.
Yeah.
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 So how is this holding up for you in the artificial? I don't know if it's artificial watermelon or not, but the flavoring tastes artificial to me because it tastes like a Jolly Rancher. So how's it holding up for you flavor wise?
So now that you like, first off, I think that you robbed me a little bit of having a better opinion. It's okay. Of having a true, unscathed, unmanipulated opinion. Because now I do think of the watermelon Jolly Rancher, which I do like. Of all the artificial watermelons, that one's okay.
Mm, I agree.
Um, so that's all that I get. Like if it would have been like like a watermelon punch or a watermelon popsicle or watermelon Kool-Aid or something like that, I would have been like, I'm out. But since you planted that seed of watermelon Jolly Rancher, which I think my mind was trying to come to that conclusion, but I got car air freshener. Yeah. Anyway, um, had I not been locked into the fact that it's Jolly Rancher, I probably would have had a more negative thing to say about it. It tastes artificial for sure. I hope it's
Oh
not,
yeah.
but it tastes very artificial.
I mean, it. That's literally what it did. Like, and you know what? If you leave a watermelon Jolly Rancher in your car and it melts, it might as well be an air freshener. So,
That is true.
I
It
mean,
is art. It says artificial flavors on it, so I would assume
okay.
that they're not. I
So they're
believe that
melting down Jolly Ranchers and mixing it in.
you know
That's what
how
they're doing.
like McDonald's is like the number one consumer of apples. Did you know this or something like that? Like there's some statistic or
For
whatever
the apple
that's like,
pies.
and for the little apple pouches or whatever.
Okay. They
This might
might
not be.
they
This
might
might not be true.
sell the most, but do they really get consumed?
Dude, I have no idea. You're right. Most of them get thrown away. But all I'm saying
No.
is like, that's like the number one consumer of whatever. Or like, I bet you that like peanut M&Ms is a pretty heavy user of peanuts.
That
I
makes
bet you,
sense. Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
I bet you that Best Made from the Martin House Brewing Company is the number one consumer of watermelon Jolly Ranchers, at least seasonally.
Yeah. This is the first time I've ever seen this one. So I wonder if this is like a new one. And obviously, like I said, it's not on their website. So,
I've never seen it before ever either. I've seen some of the other variations. Also, I'm gonna mention, I don't know if this is a good thing or not, but I've kind of got like the cold sweats as this
oh,
settles into my tummy.
oh
So
no. Is it too much pickle juice, bro?
I don't
Getting too
know.
hydrated?
My stomach's not empty, but I mean I'm sweating like a stuck
I'll tell
pig
you
in the
what
new.
though, we're both flying through it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got to be pretty close with the first, pretty close to done with the first one.
Bro, I just splashed a little bit in my eye, and it wasn't all that bad. I don't know. There was a point to that, but good story. I would say this: it is so it's right on the edge of too. Every time I take a sip, it's right on the edge of too much. Do you get that feeling?
No, I don't.
What, dude? If it were any more bitter, or I think it's great. Like we're not doing scores obviously at this point, but if it were any more bitter or any more acidic, I would be like, ugh, this is too much. Maybe it's the volume I pull into my mouth, but every time I'm like, oh, that pushed me to the extreme, and then I swallow, and then I'm like, I want that again, and then it pushes me to the
Yeah.
extreme, and I swallow.
Well,
So,
I mean, that's what pickle juice does to me in general. That's why I never liked pickle pops growing up because it was like everybody would always get right because you go to a baseball game or what like a little league baseball game, everyone's like, "Oh, I want a pickle pop," and they're like 25 cents, you know. So you go with a quarter, you get one, and everybody's eating them, and I'm just like, bro, how do y'all do that? Like it's frozen pickle juice. Like I can't do it. And it was for that same reason because I'd bite it and put it in my mouth, and I'm like, oh God, it's just straight vinegar. I just can't. You know what I mean? But somehow, man, with the beer mixed in, I don't know. I don't know what it does for me, but it does good things. I'll tell you that much.
if that all the way around is not in some way or another the underlying theme of being American, I don't know what is. Because basically, let's think about this. There's a snack bar or a concession stand that's selling pickles, those big fatty floppy ones for like $1 each, and then they empty the jug and they're like, "No, here's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna waste. We're gonna freeze all of that in Ziploc pouches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that in like it's all gonna some of them they lay flat, so you get like a little bar. They put it in like the little popsicle. But I've been places where they just let it collect in the little nipple of the Ziploc bag,
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
doing that. They're going to sell those for $0.25, and then they're going to take that jar and they're going to mix tea in it, or they're going to mix
Oh yeah.
Kool-Aid in it, or they're going to cut a slit in it and write tips on the side of it and set it by the window.
Yeah. Oh
Okay,
yeah. There's no loss in the pickle game, bro.
bro.
Have you
No,
seen that meme going around where it's like someone's at a gas station and it's those like bagged pickles and there's a sign over it that says ask cashier if you want your pickle drained.
mm,
And
no.
everybody's like, where's that store at, bro?
I have not, I have not seen that. And here's the like as funny as that is because of the blatantly obvious innuendo there.
Yeah.
I would say the thing that makes it even funnier is that they had to put that sign up there because idiots were poking holes and leaking them in the floor. how
Yeah,
many
dude, you know that's what was happening.
how many times were the local authorities called because people were leaking their pickles right there on the fucking
people,
floor?
people were slipping on pickle juice, bro. Oh man.
He's got his little tablet out and he's like, and he did what with the pickle? Yeah, I
He
see.
drained his pickle in the middle of the store, you say.
Yeah, I've seen it 1,000 times. This is the third story he's been in this week. This guy's draining his pickle all over town.
You know those big thick packaged pickles like that have never
Yeah.
intrigued me. I've never liked them. I
So I've never
love
liked
I love big pickles out of the jar, but you know,
that one could
that's
be
about
cut up and
that
used out of
well,
context.
that's about the only way I like my big pickles.
I like big pickles as well. And I'm not against them being in the bag. But I've never just like raw dogged one out of like a hot convenience store. I'm always trying. I like get them cold. Sometimes when we go fishing, we would buy them
And throw them
and
in the
throw them in the
cooler.
ice chest right next to the duffel bag of fucking boiled eggs that had salt and pepper in them. But anyways, and if they're nice and cold, they're fine. But I'm not just pulling them straight out of ambient temp and hoping
No,
for the
bro.
best.
No, dude. You raw dogging a wet pickle at the gas station, dude?
No, dude.
No. There's no
Also,
way.
thank God we're not paying by the pound because they put a shitload of juice in that pouch.
Dude, they
That's why
do.
they're having to drain
That's
them.
why they gotta drain them, bro. That's why you gotta ask the cashier to drain your pickle when you buy it, man. Also,
Good
can you
lord.
just imagine also like going into first of all, you're buying it from a convenience store. Okay. You're not getting them from the store, right? Like you're at a convenience store. So I don't know what your plan is. I don't know if you're going to work and you just want a pickle, right? Or I guess in your case, going fishing and you want some pickles. But imagine grabbing a pickle with other people in the store, just no shame, off the shelf, taking it up there, having people in line behind you and saying, "Excuse me, ma'am or sir, would you please drain my pickle?" Like, dude, how can you be taken serious by any person in that store after that?
Do
I
you
just
think it was? Do you think it was an executive decision that was made to put them in the individual pouches? Because I'm sure at some point they just had a big ass jar of them back there. Like if you can get them in a convenient, like a concession stand where they're just like they're not freehanding it out of the jar, but they got like
tongs.
tongs. Sometimes they got like tongs. Why can't they do that in a gas station? I don't see why they need to be individually packed unless it was a sanitary
well,
thing.
well, I know that they have like different flavors and stuff of them,
Bro,
so you can
listen.
get like spicy, or I'm sure they're doing like what's that like tahine. I'm sure they're putting some of that stuff in some of them. They
I
put
just think
tahine on everything.
maybe that's the problem with the bag pickled system. Like You shouldn't have options. What kind of world are we living in where somebody who's making the decision to eat a bagged pickle also has the option to make a decision on what that pickle tastes like? I think that's too many options for bagged pickles.
I agree. At least they don't sell them in all different sizes. You know what I mean? They're pretty they're pretty strict on the size of the pickle.
You want the tall or the grande bagged pickle? Which was it that you wish to have?
Yeah, it's also a giant pickle. Like they're always the thickest of thick pickles. You know what I mean? Like the big ones that are in the jars are still like biteable. You know what I mean? But you get them out the bag, bro, and you gotta like almost taco it. You know what I mean?
I like
Like
this.
where you turn a taco to the side and you gotta bite the bottom, and then next bite you gotta bite the top. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, yeah.
That's how the pickles are in the bag. You gotta take like left side bite, right side bite.
I think it would definitely be worth whoever the company is that's making bag pickles. Best Made might make bag pickles. I don't know, but I'd love to. I want it would be worth their time to run the statistics on like who's actually finishing the pickle. Not that it matters because they're selling the pickle, okay? But they could maybe cut down on the size of the pickle if not very many people are finishing them and still charge the same price. Listen,
Yeah.
I just got into the bagged pickle game like as of 20 seconds ago, 30 seconds ago, and I already know that.
Yeah, that's true though, because it
When's the last time
also
I never finished one? You always
also
like you
whoever's finishing one would need to put on the FBI watch list. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
But I will say this, I mean it's usually with a spouse or something like that. Maybe close friends or something like that. But after I get to a certain point, I do always offer what's left of the pickle to somebody else. Like, "Hey, you want
Yeah.
this?" And sometimes they're like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll eat that." Now, if they knew
Oh,
that it was a bag pickle, I don't know if that would change the game or not. Like if they knew
well,
somebody else drained that pickle,
yeah.
not quite
It's
sure.
it's also just common courtesy to offer your pickle to somebody else.
Yeah,
You
especially
know.
if you know if it's already been drained, you want them to enjoy it too. I would say
Yeah.
this: we should do I'm not sure we could, but we should do a pickle counter because I think I've said pickle more this week there this in this last whatever 30 minutes than I've said pickle in the past I don't know couple of years.
I think I've said it more in this episode than I've said it my entire life.
Come on! I mean, if we were to count all the pickles that I've ever said, maybe.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Also, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna say that right out front. I'm not going to.
it takes a lot of time. Also, especially if you would be listening, there's a lot of times where I'm saying like that seems plausible, and you're like, "Oh, did he say it? Nope, he didn't say it."
Yeah.
Chicago,
Oh, got him. You're out of here.
you're out of here.
All right. So the other big player in this, obviously, is the watermelon, which we touched on a little bit a few weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, actually, whenever we were talking about the melon overtones of the what beer was it that we were tasting? But anyways, the luck was it the Lucky Devil, I believe. I don't
Dude,
remember.
listen, it's all a blur. When you say the number every week, I'm just as surprised as whoever just decided to download the episode. But keep on.
Yeah. So we talked about melons and whatnot, and how you know what honeydew is just
Oh
let's
yeah, I
stop.
remember.
Let's stop with the honeydew, and we
Yeah.
touched on the fact that watermelon is the best melon and arguably one of the best fruits of all time. And it's by far the best summer fruit, and I'll hear no argument um, from me. And then that's also whenever you mentioned that you didn't like the artificial watermelon, but we've gone through that one.
No, it does sound like there's a resounding kickoff to summer for me, and it's when I'm not gonna say it's when I've had my first watermelon, but like I don't think of watermelon ever, and maybe it's because I don't like artificial watermelon, but I don't think of consuming watermelon at all until it's summertime. That's the only time where I'm like, that's what I want. You know how when some people are like, oh, it's cooling off, it's time to have a soup, or oh, like oh, this one's like, oh, it's our first cold spell, we're gonna make a chili, right? That's what that means for me, the watermelon is that in the summer. There's
Yep.
not a summer experience that I think of more than watermelon.
Yeah, it's like mid-May hits for me, and I'm like, it's watermelon time, and there's
Yeah.
just nothing better. First of all, it's one of the lowest fruits in carbs. Just throwing that out there.
I
uh,
didn't know that.
and it's just incredibly hydrating and delicious, dude. I mean,
It is.
I think we said it on the episode a couple weeks ago, but like when it gets to that perfect ripeness where
Hmm.
it just melts in your mouth, you
Yep.
know what I mean? Where you don't even, you can just like do the lip bite and just it all just smushes in your mouth, you know?
Yeah, we also talked about too. I like mine a little mealy, a little overripe.
Grainy a
Don't
little
get me.
bit.
Yeah, a little bit grainy, dude. One thing that I just keeps coming, as you've said, watermelon over and over and over. Now we've switched from pickle to watermelon.
Watermelon
As
counter.
as is right. No, 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 not the watermelon counter. But I'm thinking to myself, I wish scientifically somebody could explain to me why when I drink the beer, all I taste is pickle, but when I burp it, all I taste is watermelon. But
Dude.
I need like I need somebody to break it down. I think of
Yes.
I think of like on like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when Charlie's got like the freaking
The
red
board.
like strings and he's like, I just can't figure it out. Like I need
Yeah.
somebody to do that for me. Um, but with why
Scientifically.
I drink pickle but burp watermelon. Anyways, let's continue. So watermelon means summer. And why to you, aside from the fact that it's refreshing, does it mean summer? Because I have two answers being as we're from Texas.
Well, it- partially because, you know, you go to the store and they're just everywhere during summer.
Mm.
Um, I mean, that's it, that's just part of it. Like that's what you do on the lake. You know what I mean? You cut it, you take a watermelon, you cut it into triangles and you mac down on that thing and then throw the rind to the fishes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's what we do. I don't know if we're supposed to, but that's what we do, you know? I'm sure it's fine.
I think
Uh
they're just
no, go ahead.
I think they're just ready to harvest during the summertime, and it used to always trip me out because, like, when people would grow them, you would go out there and it's like fucking. It always seemed like it was July or August, and you're like, how in the heat of like death out here all day can there be this pocket of water just growing on the ground?
Yeah.
It would blow my mind.
I don't know how long it takes a watermelon to grow, but I'm pretty sure that they're planted in winter.
I that I don't know, but I know we would harvest them in the summer. Um,
Mhm.
Also, Katie's little secret to picking the best one in the store, which does make sense in theory, but I think it's obviously there's probably a scientific explanation. She never gets a pretty one. She always gets one with like a big yellow or white spot on it, and that's because normally it's forgotten in the field until the first pass of harvest by accident, and so it starts to discolor from
It's
laying
a
on the
little
ground
riper.
longer. Yeah.
That's smart.
I don't know if that's the truth or not, but it seems to be pretty effective for us. Um, the second thing I was going to mention is like my experience with watermelon is I and I still to this day like we have half a watermelon right now that's in the refrigerator. Um, I still want it ice cold. Like I will
Mhm.
eat room temperature watermelon, but for me it screams summer because like here's the thing: you would buy the watermelon or you would get it from somebody. I don't know why people are gifting watermelons, but that seemed to happen a lot. At least with our grandparents, it was like we've given you this watermelon, and we're like thank you, and they would put it. We would get it freaking ice cold, and we would it would
Yes.
as soon as we would get the watermelon, we'd be like oh my god, there's a watermelon, but you have to just suppress the urge to eat it right then, and you get it ice cold, and
Icebox
then
it.
yeah,
Mm.
or throw it on ice or put it, I wouldn't say freeze it, but throw it on ice. And we would go out right pre-bath or right post-bath, which was taboo, obviously, the way that we grew up. But you go right out post bath on the back porch, and we would cut it in half, and you would all and there'd be like 10 of us, and you would have spoons, and you would stick the spoon in, and you would rotate the spoon, and you would like melon ball out these little delicious ice cold chunks of watermelon when it was like 8 p.m., but it was Texas, so it was still 98 degrees outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I never like you talking like what an ice cream scoop or like a spoon?
no, just a table, like a regular tablespoon.
Because I've
But
seen
you would.
people ice cream scoop them
Oh
too.
no, I've never ice cream scooped it.
Yeah. I've never eaten them like that. I usually just like pizza triangle that bitch. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's how you do it. You know, because you get that first bite in and it's delicious, and the rest of it you just got red marks all over your face. You know what I mean?
Yes. There's two other
Yeah.
rules that I'll bring up Are you a salter? Do you salt the
No,
watermelon?
no, I don't.
What? Okay. See, I do. I mean, not all the time. I don't have to, but I do salt the watermelon because it's delicious. And then the other thing I would say is like I think everybody, regardless of if they want to admit it or not, they have like a threshold of pink that they leave on the rind. You
Yeah.
know, nobody talks about where the cutoff is, and I'm sure some people are different, but everyone, like right
Okay.
now, I can see, like if somebody were to hold up a piece of watermelon right now, I would know exactly where I'm gonna stop eating, just so I
Yeah.
don't get any rind.
And you know what? I think it's safe to say that somebody that leaves no pink and it's just straight white is a serial killer.
Serial killer, yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
There's no reason to get down into the white. Why? Why the pink isn't good?
Also, too, I mean, unless there's a lot of people, like there's no need to do that because, like, how
Yeah.
many times are four people finishing a whole watermelon? Fucking never.
No, well, I don't know. I could down one
I
if
know,
I
but that's
sat
not good on
there.
the gut, dude.
No, it's not. Or probably the bladder or kidneys, quite honestly. That's
That's a
a
lot.
that's like a gallon of water in one sitting,
The
you
other
know?
thing that you, the other thing that I guess you were unaware of, but there's two things that I love. So we used to have this other one that Grandpa would grow, and they were called Black Beauties. So
Hmm.
everybody thinks of a standard watermelon. Like there's a bunch of watermelons, by the way, and people think of the standard watermelon being like the green with like the tan and all that, and that is. But there's a smaller variation that's literally like the size, like an enlarged A. And this is gonna be the best explanation. You remember the gator balls that we would play dodgeball with in like middle school and
Yeah.
hot and yeah,
Yes.
okay,
Like
that
the foam
size.
ones?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They're that size and they're black, like just beet black. Beets are
Oh,
red,
beets are
but
red.
but
That's
like eggplant kind of like purple black. Okay,
okay.
and they're hard as a rock. And you cut them in half, and there's not a lot of meat in them because obviously they're pretty small, but they are the sweetest,
Mm.
most delicious. Also, too, they're like it's like God's way of saying like you guys love the watermelon so much, but it was kind of inconvenient to carry and you never finished it. And then he was like, "What about this one?" And so you're like, "Oh, it's the personal pan pizza of watermelons. That's what this is." But anyways, they were delicious. Um, and then also the yellow meated ones. That's where you said you had never seen or eaten a yellow
Mm.
meated watermelon.
And is that what those are, or are those different?
No, no, a
So,
Black
because
Beauty is
I've never seen the one that Grandpa grew either. I don't think I he ever showed me those.
yeah, the Black Beauties were the little round black ones, and they that like no, they're red meated, but they're just black on
Mm.
the outside, like eggplant black. And but no, they make yellow meated ones too that look exactly like red, like they're green on the outside. They look like red meated, but they're yellow on the inside. And so sometimes people would gift us watermelons and we would be like all pumped up because they were ice cold and it's post bath. And we're like, hell yeah, everybody got our spoons ready and our salt shaker. And we go out there and you got one more little blessing because you
That's
cracked
awesome.
it and it was yellow meated. And you were like, holy, a yellow meated watermelon is probably significantly more rare than like a double yolked egg.
What?
Yeah.
So you can't grow them; they're just random.
I don't know. That's something that we should let's have Google look that up for us. I don't know. We would get them randomly. I don't know if it's because they were an anomaly, like maybe they were albino watermelons. I don't want to be offensive or anything like that, but um, or like it was like an anomaly or something, or if like you could grow them. I don't know. We're about to ask Google.
Yeah. So they were still green on the outside though. It wasn't like because you know how there's like orange pumpkins and white pumpkins, you know? Like so
Yeah.
this watermelon wasn't white because you said albino. So I'm saying it was like the outside
Yeah.
white or was it?
No, no, no. It looks exactly like like a red
Okay.
watermelon on the outside, but when you cut it in. So the yellow meated watermelon. I love the fact that people are using that terminology because
Yellow
yellow
meated.
meated. Yeah, seems kind of weird. Tastes remarkably similar to red watermelon. When you bite into the crisp meat, you'll find it essentially equal in texture and juiciness. The one notable difference besides their color is that yellow can taste a bit sweeter with a honey-like flavor.
Ooh.
So I wonder if our friend the honeydew melon is trying to fuck up one more thing for us. Is
Yeah,
that what they're trying to do?
that's what I was about to say. The honeydew's trying to take away
It,
from
I
the real
I remember
honeymelon.
I remember them being sweeter. I don't necessarily remember them being honey like at all, but I do remember them being sweeter, and I also, if you can even comprehend this, remember them being a lot juicier, which seems ridiculous. Yeah.
Good lord, dude, are you drowning while you're eating it?
I mean,
Because
I don't I mean, I'm telling you, man.
there's just no way. I'm very jealous that I've never had one now. This is my
Yeah.
mission now. Can I buy?
Dude,
How do
yeah.
you know? So how do you know that one is yellow
I
without? You just get lucky.
yeah, I don't know.
You need to figure out if we can buy one because that's what we need to do here. I wonder if they're
These are
more
the real
expensive as well. If they're
Oh
more
my God.
rare. Dude, it really is true. It goes in pickle and it comes out watermelon. That's wild.
Yeah, it's so crap. Uh
Very crazy. Absolutely
okay, hey, so
ridiculous.
by the way, she is definitely correct. They highly recommend picking check your melons. That's how this
Mm.
is phrased. Thank you, Google, for dialing me in there.
Yes. That
Check
goes
your
not only
melon.
for the fruit but also for the ladies. You need to make sure.
And here it gets even better. It gets even juicier, and you guys can thank me for the pun later.
Mm.
Check your melons for that creamy, tender yellow spot on the rind.
Mm.
Yep.
Wow, we're giving away the tips right here exclusively on Off the Tap.
Okay, it's so hard to tell if it's yellow meated or not. How can you tell if the inner flesh of the fruit will be okay? Yellow watermelon looks exactly the same as a regular watermelon from the outside with a striped green rind. However, once you cut it open, you'll see that the inner flesh of the fruit is a bright golden yellow. Yep, thanks, appreciate it, Google.
So,
This, by the way, that was such an obviously unnecessary, like what I did not want to find, that I think Google is just fucking with me and returning what Edge would have brought, or like
oh wow, okay.
the type of
Shots
watermelon
fired.
isn't new. It's been around for a while, but I don't know. I don't know how to tell. We're gonna have to dig a little deeper.
Well, so it really is a diamond in the rough or a needle in the haystack per se.
Yeah.
No way to tell. So, hey, if anybody listening tries a watermelon and you get a yellow meated watermelon, send us a picture because I'm going to be incredibly jealous.
Real quick, so there are. I'm sorry. There are a number of varieties, and one of them is called the Yellow Flesh Black Diamond. So maybe it's a play on the Black Beauty. I don't know.
Mm.
Dark
Wow.
green rind and is about as sweet as pink watermelon. Mm. Anyway, we got off topic there as I went down nostalgia avenue. But yeah, check out those yellow meated bastards if you can get a hold of one. Mm.
And if you do, let us know, please. Um, Man, I'm gonna be on the lookout now. I almost want to like be that guy now and just go into the Walmart or the HEB and just slice one open and check before. You know what I mean?
Like you know how I don't know if they do it. I know they do it with cheese, but they also do it with tuna. But they take that little plunger and they screw it down
Oh
into there,
yeah.
and they pull like a core sample. Can you imagine if you did that to like 50 of them in that big ass box of at HEB?
Yeah.
They were just like
I,
that would be some shit that like Fox 26 would have on the news. In this area, they're taking advantage.
yeah. People
Who is
they're calling them the yellow meated bandits. They're checking all watermelons looking for a yellow meat on the
and I just
inside.
can't help but think that they would cut to like this. It's like summer, but it's like 8 a.m. at the grocery store. They cut to this old woman in the moo and she's going, "We was all just wanting melons, and they all got holes in them." And
It'd
then
be
that's
like
the whole.
it's like one of those like prank videos or like sketch videos where somebody's like recording on their phone from a distance and you just see me and you just like grinding out these freaking watermelons and they're like, "Hey, it's the yellow
And then we
the yellow
scurry
meat
off.
bandits," and you just see us look over and then we just dip out real quick like, "Go, go, go." There's like camera crews running to our car and stuff.
It's all super pixelated and handy cam shaky, so you can't
Yeah.
make us out, but you could
Yeah,
tell by
like,
the eyes.
this is the approximate what they look like a little bit, you know? It's like security camera footage on the ID shows, you know what I mean? They're like, "Hey, we take high quality pictures of Saturn daily, but here's this incredibly grainy video of a guy when he's 12 foot from the camera."
I just love how bold they are in making assumptions based off of those pictures too, because they're
Yeah.
like, you could clearly tell from the footage, and I'm like, who the f- clearly telling from that footage? There were 4 pixels
It
in that whole picture.
looked like Tomb Raider from 1992, bro.
Jesus, I couldn't make out if it was even a human being.
Could have very well been a dog for all I know. That's all. It's like you remember in Elf whenever he's like running through the forest, looks back like Sasquatch. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
And that'd be like us running out to the van though, getting away from the cameras. Oh man, that would be a scoop though. Houston News would run with that forever.
Yeah, they would be. They've hit 6 of the local HEBs. They could be in your neighborhood. And then it cuts to saying where it's the HEB employee, but like maybe like an assistant manager or something. He's like,
Name
we could
tag
really,
blurred out.
yeah, we could really use blurred out, but it's also just the film quality of the CCTV. Anyway, we could really use your help putting this to rest. I mean, we've lost a lot of inventories and we're just here to serve our communities. Then they go on this pathway about, you know, just some things that are irrelevant. I don't know what they could be, but
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. The old lady would be the perfect one though. We just wanted to get some melons.
I was just in here trying to pick up a few melons. Every single one of them scored down to the center.
It's so funny because I just think of freaking wicked tuna every time that you because that's what I remember them doing with the every tuna they'd catch. You get that. Oh yeah, that's nice and
They
red.
pull it and then they squeeze it out. And they're like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's dark red
can
right
do
down to
about
the core.
can do about $70 a pound for that. Like damn, that's it.
Cha-ching!
That's what they should be doing with these melons though, bro. Then you could separate the yellers and sell them for more. You know.
Listen, I'm sure that there's some strategy that I just haven't gone down a deep enough Google rabbit hole to figure out at this point. Um, yeah.
We need to somehow convert a stud finder to yellow meat finder. That's what we need to do.
I'm not sure if there's also if you were unaware. I mean, there's got to be more of the. I wonder what volume of the population is aware that there's other watermelons out there.
Well, not only that, but right, the people that don't realize now, right? They get home and they crack it open and it's yellow. How many of them are going, "Oh, what the hell," and throwing it away?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, this or taking it back and being like, "I don't want this. This isn't a watermelon." And
But
meanwhile,
in,
the employees are going, "Thank God."
yeah,
Yes.
and really, that employee's going, "Thank God." He's like, "I'm not having to core every watermelon for here to 6 counties trying to find it."
They're not gonna catch me this time. So, hey, any employee that happens to, let me give you my phone number so you can just send her on over.
Right, it'd be smart if they just posted, like, if they were really trying to pull one over, if they just posted a picture. If your watermelon looks like this, there's a recall on it. Like, bring it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, that would be smart. Oh, I should do that and just give them my information. Post it up outside the Kroger out here.
I wonder how long it would stay there before they notice something.
Someone will report it. Probably immediately. It'd probably be that old lady.
I knew it. You're the core bandit. He's the core bandit.
It's him. We found him. Oh, man. All right. Well, we have gotten to that point in the episode to do the WWYBDs.
Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
No, you can go first.
Okay. So mine is not like what would I be doing because I don't find myself doing this all that often. But for some reason, every time I taste this beer and the first time I tasted this beer, I would drink this if I was participating in or if I was watching a tennis match.
Dude, there's no way.
What?
There's no way that you just said that.
Yeah, I did.
That
This is a
was
tennis.
mine.
I've had
That
bullshit.
was mine. I swear to God.
This is my tennis match beer.
I
I have
swear
it.
to
It's been
God,
written.
because I've been thinking about the fact that that's when I would cramp up the most, dude.
Yes.
That's
This is my tennis match beer.
oh my
May-
God. What are the odds?
Maybe nowadays pickleball.
Oh, nice. I see
Yeah.
what you did there.
I didn't even mean to put those pieces together. There's a lot of things that pickles just sliding into.
Yeah.
We're gonna let that go. But this is my tennis match beer for sure.
Yeah, that's very weird that that's what you said. I was going to say either playing or watching,
Yeah.
like cuz I mean, most of the times when you go there's some covering that you can sit under in the shade a little bit, but like man, it's still hot, And something like this, dude, it just keeps you nice and hydrated and all tennis courts should sell this at the concession stand.
Also,
Well,
too, I'm
not
not.
it doesn't necessarily have to be this particular one, but I think pickle beer in general.
Also, I'm not gonna say that like every sporting event, every sporting event, like you go there to get hammered. I don't think that's always the case. You don't go there to just get hammered, but like I can tell you that tennis isn't one of those sports where I'm going and just gonna black out, get sloshed. You're going there to have like a few beers and that's it, like cocktail, then you're going home. And so, considering you're not trying to power drink because it's the eighth inning and they're shutting down concessions, this is a tennis beer.
Yeah, you're not going to a tennis match to get wasted, right?
No.
Unless you're going to Wimbledon.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe you're getting plastered.
I mean, honestly, because you either have there's two types of Wimbledon people. Now we're not wrapping up here, but we're WWYBDing. There's two types of Wimbledon people. There are the people that buy tickets to every single day, and so you got to pace yourself. And then there are people that buy tickets to just one match, and they're like, "This was five life savings, so I'm just gonna get slammed."
Yeah. Because not only are the tickets ridiculous, but the price of everything at a
That's what I'm
Wimbledon is
saying.
ridiculous. Like,
Like, and by the way, the people that are spending like their life's earnings aren't even watching something on a main court later in the tournament. It's like round of 16 on a day game.
yeah, at like noon in
Yeah.
the sweltering heat.
Where they need a bunch of pickle beer.
Yeah.
So,
Otherwise, they'll be
Martin House,
cramping up going up and down the freaking steps, man.
Martin House needs to get it together, and we're playing Wimbledon next year, or not playing, but you're participating in Wimbledon next year.
I would say that's a good word to use for a beer company. You should try to play a sport, right?
Yeah.
Like that's obviously you're not playing, but you're playing the audience. That should 100% be the term. Yeah, that's wild. I was not expecting you to say tennis. That's why I let you go first. That's insane. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, that blows my mind. I mean, obviously we've had some that are like um like lake beers or whatever that we've like agreed on,
Yeah.
but that's never been the same WWIBD.
No, this one was very close. I doubt we're gonna rate it very similar in total. So if we
Probably
jump
not.
into ratings, do you want to go ahead and go first?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to, like we said, we're trying to compare this to other sours, but it's very hard for me to do that. Because it's a sour beer doesn't necessarily taste like this.
I agree.
So it's, I mean, a little bit, but not 100%. So I'm taking that into account a little bit. Um, Entry, I've got a 4. Aftertaste, I've got a 4. Um, for kind of the reason that we've been talking about, because of the fact that the entry, I get so much pickle with a little hint of watermelon, and then the aftertaste, I get all the watermelon.
They almost take it's almost like you're getting two beers for the price of one.
Yes, it's great.
Pretty cool.
Um, Body, I'm giving it a 5 because it's exactly what it's advertised. It's a pickle
Yeah.
beer with watermelon flavoring. Watermelon flavoring. Um, Color, I am giving it a 5 as well. Um, it's it looks like a sour, but here's the thing with sours for me is they can be all kinds of different colors and
Yeah,
look so different. So there's not one set color for a sour that is definite.
I'll give you that.
So I'm giving it a 5 because it looks like a freaking sour beer to me. Bitterness, I'm giving it a 4. I think it could be a little a, a little more maybe. Uh, I think it could. Acidity, acidity. I'm giving it a 4 because I think it's a little too acidic because of the vinegar.
Yeah.
But that's just because it's pickle beer. That's what you get. And fizz, I had fizz at a 5, but I'm actually gonna bump that down to a 4
Yeah.
because I didn't get a lot of burps, but the burps were delicious. So if you like watermelon Jelly Ranchers, you're gonna like the burps on this beer. Uh, Pretty solid. So that brings my total to a 30. Again, it's not like a typical sour, but it's very hard for me to judge it against other typical sours. So my score might be a little higher than it should be relating to other sours.
I just thought of two things. One's funny, one's not. I find this one to be more like I mean, like earlier when I said I didn't think the sour pickle was a sour, and then I like laughed. I still don't feel like the sour pickle by itself is a sour, but this one, because of the watermelon, it's
The
more sour
fruitiness.
beer to me. Yeah.
Yeah, the fruitiness nature of it.
So I thought about that first, but then I thought about like if people like if you were on the streets trying to peddle this and you were like, "Do you like pickles? Do you like watermelon?" How many people are you gonna catch all in at the same time?
Not a lot.
Anyway, um, so on entry, I had a 4 coming in. I think it delivers on pickle, it delivers on beer. You get the hint of the watermelon. And then also it tastes like like it's a sour to me. Is it the best sour that I've ever had? No. But to your point, there's so many varieties of sour that like I don't think you can say, "Oh, that's a sour." You can't like you can say that's a sour, but you can't say that's the best sour because then you'll have a different. I think sours are delineated based on what they are. If you
Yeah.
had like you can say, "Oh, that's the best peach sour that I've ever had,"
Yes.
or "That's
Yes.
the best lavender sour," or whatever. But you can't just say like, "Oh, that peach sour is better than that watermelon pickle sour," because they're in
It's
different
completely
ballgames.
different.
Yep. Aftertaste, I have a 4, but kind of very similar reason. Like it's not the same taste that stays, that's like stays solid. It's a whole different beer when you finish it, which is cool.
Mm.
We kind of had completely different on the body piece. I had a 2, and here's why. Because it doesn't like the flavor stays in your mouth, and it obviously changes and manipulates, but it doesn't stick around. I had to it doesn't stay around. It doesn't coat. It's not like I don't know.
That's fair.
Color color I have a 3, and here's why. I wasn't looking for a certain shade. I wasn't looking for green. I wasn't looking for pink. But to me, sours almost always have a very hazy or very um, cloudy look, and this one is clear all throughout. So pro con, but that's why I kept it middle of the road. Bitterness, I have a 6, and here's why. Because I would not in a sour, I want it to peak. Think about like when you're listening to sounds, and there's like the little things that jump up, and you're always like, let me push it. I don't want them to all max out, but I want one to like, ah.
Yeah.
That's what I think about. And this every single time got to the point where like I didn't want a larger sip, like I said before, because it maxed out. But as soon as I swallowed it, I was refreshed and I was willing to do it again. So bitterness, I have a 6. Acidity, I have a 4 for a similar reason that you do. I think that it would have had a higher score if they would have backed it down a little bit.
We've gone a
Um,
little bit more watermelon forward.
Correct, because like
Yeah.
I said, once this hit the belly, immediately I was like, I should have pre-gamed with something.
Yeah.
Um, and then for fizz, I have a 4 as well. I think it could have had a little more bubble to it. The burps were good. The burps were delicious. It didn't kind of tied back to the body piece. It didn't have a lot of like bubbly that stayed around. So my total score comes to a 27, which is not that off from a 30. We had some
Oh
categories that
no.
were drastically different, but yeah, 27.
Yeah, that's still solid. Um, yeah, I agree. So this is the first sour we've done on the podcast ever, and we've got one more coming at y'all here soon in the next few weeks, probably. We're not gonna do them back to back because we got some other stuff. Don't wanna do too many similar things back to back. But we got another sour coming in that's a lot more like a normal sour. It's not a pickle sour. It's just a normal fruit sour beer. So we'll get some better, more accurate ratings on that one. I think. I'm pretty excited about that. I've actually had it though, so that's the
Um,
one downside.
I
But
don't think that I've never had the only canned sours I've ever had are the best made canned sours. Everything else that I've
mm,
ever had as a sour was always on tap.
I had one from Dogfish Head
Okay.
called the Sea Quench Ale. I think we actually did that one on here. Maybe I don't remember.
I thought you said this is the first
I
sour you've ever
I
done.
I don't. I think I drank it by myself.
Listen, dude,
Uh,
it's completely fine for me to not know what episode count we're on,
no,
or
I was wrong.
but
Yeah, we did do it. We did do it. But it's not. And listen, it's not sour like these like a normal sour is though.
bro, are we
Yeah.
leaving that in? I mean, that seems like
Yeah, no,
you're
we'll leave
leaving
it
it
in
in.
because I'm a liar, obviously. So
Okay. No, that's fine, dude.
now everybody
Hey,
knows.
hey, listen, everybody, listen. I knew it was gonna happen. Look, he delivered on the beginning, first shot, one kill. He had to fuck up the end. Come on.
Whatever. All right. Well, we're at that point in the podcast where I'm going to tell you to go follow us on social media on Twitter and TikTok at Off the Tap Pod and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Off the Tap Podcast.
All right. So before we get into the poem, there's two things that I have to say that are precursors for you to understand or you to be aware of before we go into this week's poem. Number one is, does anybody remember the beer face ads, the bitter beer face ads from back in the day? Okay, well, from back in like I think it was like 80s or early 90s, there were these bitter beer face ads. Your homework this week, which I forgot to sign earlier, is to go look up bitter beer face. So you need to know what that is. Number two is what I refer to as twisted teeth. And here's why. Because have you ever seen Aladdin?
Aladdin?
Aladdin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so when well, I can't think of who it is. Jafar dresses up as the old man at the very beginning, and when he like grits his teeth to the side, they're all twisted and gnarly. Very visual. All
Yeah.
right, you got to remember those two things for this to not to make sense, but for you to at least build the graphic in your head as I read it out. Pink and green and twisted teeth, deluxe edition limited. For those about to barf, we rethink you. Best made without braid, the child on the can. We vow to place a pickle beer in each a Texan's hand. A spiritual adventure inside the printed can of summer, time's heated sweet sadness. Proceed to experience the modern day bitter beer face.